ود كثير من أهل الكتاب لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا حسدا من عند أنفسهم من بعد ما تبين لهم الحق. فإذا يعني والله يعني الحسد هو سبب لضلال كثير من الأمم لكثير من الأفراد، فسببه يا عباد الله هو الحسد. فانتبهوا، كثير حتى من الناس اليوم قد يضل عن الطريق بسبب حسد يعني لرجل من أهل الإيمان يراه على خير فيحسده ويختار طريقا يعني غير طريق الحق. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى يعني السلامة.
This great trial of Yusuf alayhi salam from his brothers, which led him to being placed in the well and then getting sold, and we know the story. All of these, subhanallah, yani the reason was what his brothers did. Yani after what came after that was because of what his brothers did. So how did he react and deal with this jealousy or with this envy, or how did he react to the cases and what his brothers actually did? In the chapter there isn't a mentioning of the matter of envy being mentioned after that. Meaning after Yusuf alayhi salam was reunited with his brothers, and then they knew and they saw him and they knew him, what did they say? They said, by Allah, Allah has chosen you and preferred you over us. We were indeed wrongdoers. And then after all of this, he ended up saying to them that there is no blame upon you today. Allah will forgive you and He is the most merciful. He said to them, there is no blame upon you, and there's no reason for me to blame you upon what has passed. The scholars, they said, look at this great soul. When he met with his father and you reunited and they prostrated, and he said what he said of, oh my father, this is, and he continued the story regarding how what he saw and how this is the actual practical application of what he saw, if you'd like to say. He put his status equal to that of his brothers. And it's as if they're on the same level, as if he made himself out to be on the same level and status of his brothers after everything that happened. He did not let that devilish whim get in between, and he didn't make it out like he's better than them. And in the whole Quran there isn't a mentioning of him mentioning it after that, as if he turned a blind eye to this matter and did not make it a reason for his grief and sorrow. So the Sheikh says, just like we heard Sheikh Walid say earlier, that some, they take the instances and occurrences that happen in their lives and they never move on. They never leave it. So they end up becoming frustrated. They end up becoming discontent. They end up losing hope. But rather Yusuf alayhi salam, he placed it behind him and he looked at the future. And as a believer, this is how we should be. As believers, the Sheikh says, we should look to the hereafter. We should focus on the matters of the hereafter. Because the believer, he sees that and he realizes that this is the greater goal, and he does not let those matters and occurrences which he has went through, those trials which he has went through, he does not allow those to act as barriers between him and that ultimate objective. And even our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when an instance occurred between him and some of the disbelievers, he was reminded with this statement in the hardest of times, in the hardest of occasions. And to summarize everything, after he was reminded by this, after Abu Sufyan mentioned that to him, he stopped and he moved on. He's saying Abu Sufyan, his cousin, other than the other Abu Sufyan. So the Sheikh mentions that jealousy, my brothers, is a reason for the misguidance of nations. As Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, many of the people of the scripture wish that they could turn you away as disbelievers after you have believed. And what is the reason for that? Out of envy from their own selves. For this envy, my brothers, is no doubt a sickness, and it needs to be treated. And inshallah ta'ala, I think now we'll have the adhan and then we'll continue with the next talk after the prayer. Jazakumullah khairan.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا